Welcome to Brick by Brick, building our lives one brick at a time. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Brick by Brick. This is that series that's going to get you up off your seats and say, you know what, I know that I'm going to get whatever I believe that I'm going to get. Too many times we sit down and we hope for things and we never get it because we don't want to reach out and go and get it. Now the thing is that there's two things in life. And number one thing that we have to do and be when we want something in this life is we gotta be sure. If you're not sure about the thing that you really want, then you're not gonna fight your hardest to actually get it. And I know this one thing. We don't want to take risks because we want to be sure about the things that we're gonna get. If we want to put money into something and we want to make that money grow, if we don't feel that that's going to grow and we're not going to get nothing from it because we're not sure, then we're never going to take that risk. Human beings always want to look at this sure factor, that we've got to be sure that it's going to work or else we don't want to do it. Well, I wouldn't say all human beings, but many human beings, this is the way we actually look at things. But there's another way that if we are unsure, how many people have done things which they're not sure about? They're unsure that this is really gonna work. Maybe it's a business venture, maybe it's a job, taking on a job, you know. And you might say, well, no, I'll never take something on if I'm not sure about it. But is that true? Because how many people watching this have gone and applied for a job when they're not really sure if they can actually do it until they're actually there? How many people have actually gone and bought a home and without really knowing 100% if you can really afford to actually pay for it, or a car? How many people have met somebody and you're not sure that this is actually going to work, but you try it? But the thing is this, we get through it and we battle through it, and if you really want to make these things work, we become sure about these things, and then what happens is that we make them work because of the power and the passion which we actually put into it. Well, the other thing as well is that I want to just take you on this little journey, if you will, because I want this series to be not just about putting things together for you. I want you to look at things like this, that you can take your Bible and look at the stories in the Bible, and there's certain things in there which should make us jump up and say, wow, this is how they did it, because God always works with a pattern. Let me just share this one thing with you. I want to talk to you about the lion and the bear. And you may say, well, where is the lion and bear? Well, it's the account of David when he went to fight Goliath. And when he went to fight him, this man was huge. But the story goes like this, that the king had all of his men, and not one man would go and fight him. Not one man, because every man was unsure that they would beat him. They had to be sure. They were so small, but this man was huge. Nobody would fight him. And David heard of it. And David went to the king, and David said, listen, he said, if nobody will fight him, I will go and fight him. And King Saul said, what makes you think that you can go and fight this man? This man he's fought wars right from his youth. What have you done? And this is what David said. He said, when I was looking after my father's sheep, there came a lion and there came a bear. And it took one of my father's sheep, so I followed it, I chased it. And when it turned and came back to me, he said, I struck it, and with one blow, I killed it. I broke that lion's jaw. Now, what was David doing? Let me tell you what David did. David was looking back at the things that he knew he'd done in his past, that he could face his future because of what he'd done in his past. And you may think about that and say, well, what has that got to do with this? This has got everything to do with it. Because let's go back right to the lion and the bear. When David fought the lion and the bear, he was unsure. He'd never done this before. He'd never faced a lion, he'd never faced a bear, he'd never faced a wolf, he'd never faced nothing. But he was ready to take a chance and he was ready to take a risk. Because one thing that David had was that he had trust in his God. Now I'm going to tell you this, no matter what you're doing, in life you have to look to a higher power. If you don't look to a higher power, all you have is you. And wherever you stop, that's where you stop. You limit yourself. If that's where we are, then we can't achieve nothing. Because there's always something greater than us. And we got to look to that power. And David looked to that power to say, God is going to protect me no matter what happens. I'm going to go and get my father's sheep back. He was unsure at that time. But God brought him through it. So when he went to fight Goliath now, and the king asked him, what is it? What is it that makes you think that you can fight this man? And when he told him, he was reflecting and going back and thinking all these thoughts that he had many, many years ago or months ago of how he fought this lion and the bear, and he realized this one thing: if I can beat that, I can beat him. Now I'm going to tell you this. In life we always want to play the blame game. What if David was to turn around and say, you know what? My father put me in so much harm's way. He put me into harm's way. He put me in such an awkward spot where that lion or that bear could have killed me. But he didn't think like that. He looked at it as a challenge. He looked at it as training for his life, for the bigger things that he knew that he would have to face. Now the thing is this. Think about this for a second. How many of us have faced a lion or a bear? How many of us have actually done that? How many of us have had to face that challenge and we don't even know it? Because if I was to ask you now, if there's something in your life that you've had to get over, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's in a divorce. Maybe it's a loss of a child. Maybe it's a loss of a parent. Maybe it's something in your life that you've really had to deal with, and you felt like life didn't treat you right, or life was not just to you. Maybe you should be saying, that is my lion and bear, and that's the things that made me strong. That's what made David strong, so he could face Goliath. And the point of the matter is this. There's not going to be one thing in your life that you have to face. There are going to be many things in your life which are going to challenge you. Are you sick? Do you need help? Do you need to get back up on your feet? Do you need to be mentally strong? Because don't forget, you see these people going into the gym, pumping iron, and they're getting their bodies good, and pumping their arms and their chest and their back and their legs to make themselves strong. But one of the things that we have to know to make strong more than anything else is our mind and also our spirit. Because the Bible does say, as a man thinks, so he is he. If we're thinking that we're never going to achieve the things which we want to achieve, we are never ever going to achieve it. Because God, let me tell you something. God has put it into our body such an amazing thing. Why do you think that if you cut your arm or your leg, your body heals itself? Why do you think that when you cut all your hair off, or somebody does it, right, your hair grows back? Isn't that an amazing thing that God has put something in our body to fix it? And don't you think that inside you, that God has not put this amazing light? This amazing thing that is called faith. It's called self-belief. Now the thing is that David had a choice. We are defined by the things that we accept and the things that we believe. If we're constantly going to believe that we are a failure, if we constantly believe that we cannot do it, if we constantly believe that we cannot achieve the things that we want, if we constantly believe that we're always going to be sick, if we constantly believe that we're always the person that people want to put us down as, and you know there's many people who are going to look at you and want to put you down. There's a million people waiting outside that door to come and knock and say, put you down. But there's one person that can bring you up and hold you up, and that is you. And the muscle that we have to train is this muscle. And we have got to be not only strong within our mind and our brain, we have to be strong within our spirit to know that there's nothing that can pull us down. The only one that can pull us down is the man that's staring you back, or the woman that's staring back at you in that mirror. Because as I said, there's an amazing light that comes into effect when we want to bring that light out. And you know, when we look down back at this and we think, well, do you know what? What is my lion and bear? I want you to think about that just for a second. Think about it. Think about something that happened in your life. It could be a couple of days ago, it could be a couple of weeks ago, it could be a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago, 20 years ago. But something in your life that had an amazing effect that you had to fight through, and you got through it. How did you get through it? Because that was your lion and bear. How did you fight through that? Because that will and that strength you have to pull out again. You have to rise to this challenge and know this one thing, that nothing can hold you back except you want to be held back. Nothing's going to hold you back unless you allow it. We can blame everybody else. My life is like this because of that person. My life is like this because of what happened there. But you know what? If we all thought like that, we'd never achieve nothing. We wouldn't achieve nothing in life. What happens if you have kids, children, and they come to you and they don't get what the teacher's been saying, and they bring this homework home? And they come to you, Mommy, Daddy, I don't get what they're saying, and I've got to get this done by tomorrow. Would you say, don't worry, just put it away? And hopefully, when you wake up in the morning, somebody would have written on the pages, it's done. Or would you say, come here, let's look at it? When they say, Mommy, Daddy, I can't do it, what would you say? I'm pretty sure you'd say, try again. Try again, try again, try again until you get it right. And I'm going to tell you this, is that when you face your lion and your bear and you're trying to achieve something in your life, the worst thing that you could ever do is to give up. Because what we want to look at the final thing. The final thing that we want to look at is outcomes. What will it be? Will you be looking every day, looking down and thinking, I should have pushed harder. I should have tried harder. Maybe if I'd have done this. Maybe if I'd have done that. Maybe if I'd have just tried just that little bit harder, pushed that little bit more, then maybe I could have achieved the thing which I want to achieve. And it's your body. It's the language of your body. If you're ever sloping down and your head's down and whoa, you know, nothing ever goes right for me, my life is going to end up like this, have a guess what? That's what's going to happen. But if you lift yourself up, have you ever seen a boxer get into a ring? He paces that ring and he's walking around and he's getting himself worked up. I can do this. I can win this. I can do it. Well, how about when you want something in your life? If it's a blessing, if it's something that you need in your life, because our life is full of needs. People need things. We want things. We want to achieve things, but we're not going to achieve it if our thoughts and our doubts are right there. The biggest thing that can squash all your dreams is doubt. Get it out of your head. David had no doubt when he went to fight Goliath. In fact, he had no doubt when he fought the lion and bear. Because if you think about it, when they come and took that sheep, David could say, whew, whew, I'm so glad that he took a sheep. That lion or bear took a sheep, but he didn't take me. He didn't do that. He said, hold on. That sheep has took something of mine. I want it back. So he chased it. Who would do that? Think about that. Think about that just for 1 second. You're sitting down. Here comes the lion and the bear. They come and take your dog. Me, I'd say, okay, bye dog. See you later. But would you fight for it? David knew this one thing. He wasn't fighting alone. He wasn't in that battle alone. He had his God. And he knew this one thing. He was sure that his God was there. And when the lion or that bear, it doesn't say which one, when one of them turned on him to attack him, he killed it. This means this. Sometimes when you go for the things in your life, sometimes it may turn. But you know the thing is, you don't give up. You keep on fighting for it. And in the end, you will win. So my final thoughts. Think about this. What is your lion and your bear? What did you overcome in your life for you to get to your next battle? This has been Elder Michael James, and this has been Brick by Brick. Thank you for watching.